Welcome into Webchat with the Mayor. It is the first week of September. It's back to school and it's back to business at City Hall. All the holidays, I guess, are over, Pat, and back to regular business this week with a council meeting Thursday night. Some interesting items on the agenda, including, I guess, an issue that you're sorting through with the owners of Oxford Gardens Retirement Home. Can you kind of explain what's going on there?
Yes, this relates to a development charge. As everyone recalls, it was the old Whittingford Lodge. Oxford Gardens came along, renovated that particular property, and then since then have added some 83 or 84 additional apartments, which are currently under construction. To have the building permit issued, they had to pay a development fee, which was somewhere in the neighborhood of about $5,500 per unit, so it was about $240,000, same amount roughly at the county. And development charges are for generally new buildings going up and development charges are for future. So as you expand your libraries, as you expand arenas, that's what development charges. So there's collecting taxes in advance for future developments. In this particular case, Oxford Gardens is having legal representation, and they'll be arguing, well, the infrastructure was already there, and so we're really not putting any new pressure on the system, so therefore we don't believe we should have to pay the development fees. So council will sit back and listen to their arguments. It's under the Planning Act, so they have a right to appeal this. Council will then have to make a decision, and any decision council makes can be appealed to the OMB. So it's interesting in a number of ways, because when City Council passes a bylaw, often people say, oh, well, that's it, you've got a bylaw. But any bylaw, of course, can be tested in the courts, and that's what we're seeing here. So it's going to test the development charges bylaw of the city. And so there's a number of interesting things that will happen because of this. So it's under the Planning Act. They have the right. It will be, this appeal will be at the regular council meeting on Thursday. Under the Planning Act, there's no time limit. So we'll listen carefully to the arguments that will be presented, and then council will have to make a decision or defer making a decision. We'll see how that works out. But it's an interesting...
It is, and there's no doubt you're happy with this development that's taking place. It's local owners, and they're well known in the community. But at the same time, if you go ahead and waive those charges, those development fees, you're kind of setting a precedent, right, for possible future people to come forward to council and say, can you waive my development charge?
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, the owners are well respected in the community. It's a project building seniors apartments. So, I mean, there's all that part of it, but you have to come back to the nitty gritty that at some point in time we have to collect tax dollars. This is future tax dollars. And again, it would put if council was just to say, okay, fine, we'll waive the fee, then it pretty much puts the entire development charge bylaw under great stress.
Speaking of development, there's a couple of new subdivisions once again coming forward for some council approval this week.
There's a lot of things on the agenda. The Albert Hargraves subdivision on the 11th line, it's coming back for draft approval. And it was deferred because there was 3 or 4 residents on the 11th line. Part of the subdivision included multi-residential that would back onto their properties. So it was deferred. We understand that there's been discussions between the developer and the neighbors, and they've worked out some sort of a compromise. And so that will come before planning Tuesday and the city council on Thursday.
That's a significant one, right, in terms of number of homes?
It's a significant one. I think there's 125 roughly single-family development homes. There's the multi-residential. There's maybe 10 or 12 semi-detached. So it's a good-sized subdivision off the 11th line that will tie in with Sally Creek on the east side. And part of it, of course, was the building of a roadway that would go straight from 59 across to the 11th line to provide another east-west passage through that block. So it's significant.
And we're also set to finish up the Commerce Way Business Park. Some money for that this week.
That's correct. Commerce Way Business Park, it was about 85% done. Once Cisco came along, it necessitated completing the park, such as increasing the water pressure, installing streetlights for the entire subdivision. So staff came forward with a proposal somewhere in the $900,000 range was their estimate to finish all this. We've gone to tender. We've seen some of the numbers coming back, and the numbers are about $500,000 higher. So they're coming to council to get that money to complete that Commerce Way subdivision. And so while Cisco will be the initial beneficiary, for example, of the streetlights, for example, help the entire subdivision out there. So.
Well, Woodstock's certainly a happening place. Lots going on, lots of development, and we'll look forward to hearing more about these and other issues Thursday night at Woodstock City Council. Thanks again, Pat.
Thank you.